she's very sick and that she's needing an intervention.
Tonight, first it was the trauma of losing a loved one. Now the sister of Loretta Saunders is in dire need of a liver transplant that she may not get.
The interim board will undertake an engagement process.
The Minister of Crown-Indigenous Relations announces a special council for reconciliation.
The Indigenous Reporters Program is aimed to train young Indigenous people how to become a reporter in their own community.
And how Journalists for Human Rights teamed up with APTN National News on the Hollow Water First Nation. Good evening and welcome to APTN National News. I'm Juanita Tautungi. We begin in Ottawa, where a young Inuk woman from Labrador is in a fight for her life. Family and friends are left pushing for policy changes to get the help she needs. Here's Annette Francis with that story.
Family and friends of Delilah Saunders have been spending their days and much of their evenings here at the Ottawa General Hospital.
What the doctors are saying is that she's very sick and that she's needing an intervention that they're not willing, or at least from an organizational policy level, they're not willing to give her. And that intervention would be a liver transplant.
Delilah Saunders is the younger sister of Loretta Saunders, who was murdered in Halifax in 2014. Since then, she's been a strong voice for missing and murdered Indigenous women. She's also a land and water advocate. Just last year, she put her life on the line by participating in a hunger strike over the Muskrat Falls hydroelectric project in Labrador. The 26-year-old Inuk woman was admitted to the hospital last Saturday.
She was complaining of nausea. She was definitely really sick at that time, but she was ambulatory. She was walking around. She was talking, obviously in a lot of distress, but we had no idea that we would be at this point here today.
Saunders has been diagnosed with acute liver failure due to the use of Tylenol in conjunction with previous alcohol consumption.
She's not eligible because of this policy where they do not give people with a history of substance abuse livers. So essentially they told us her liver's failed, she needs a new one, and she's not going to get it.
Now her friends are advocating for a liver transplant to save her life. They have a petition demanding that Delilah Saunders be accepted as a liver transplant candidate.
What we're hoping for is to put pressure on Trillium Gift of Life Foundation that controls all the policies around organ donation here in Ontario. And what we're hoping for is we want them to waive the policy for Delilah and to accept her as a patient.
The Gift of Life Network says its policy on 6 months abstinence from alcohol is a commonly used protocol. In the meantime, the support and petitions for Saunders continues to grow. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Ottawa.
And we would like to hear what you have to say about this or any other story. Here's how to contact us. Send an email to news@aptn.ca, like our APTN National News Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter @APTN News, or go to our website, aptnnews.ca. The Liberal government announced the interim board of directors of the National Council for Reconciliation today. Minister Bennett says the council is another step towards implementing the Truth and Reconciliation's calls to action. She says the National Council will serve as an independent oversight body to develop and implement a multi-action plan on reconciliation. Former TRC Commissioner Wilton Littlechild accepted the position of chair of the interim board.
He will be joined by 5 other board members: Max Fine-Day, Dr. Mike DeGagne, Clint Davis, Jean Taillé, and Edith Cloutier. Over the course of its 6-month term, the interim board will undertake an engagement process to help develop recommendations on the scope and the mandate of the National Council.
2 new senators have been sworn in, Mary Coyle from Nova Scotia and Mary Jane McCullum from Manitoba. McCullum is Cree from the northern Manitoba community of Brochet. She's the first Indigenous woman to become a dentist, earning a Doctor of Dental Medicine in 1990 and providing dental services to northern Manitoba First Nations. Until her swearing in, she practiced dentistry at the Opaskwayak Cree Nation. Investigators are beginning to scour the wreckage of a plane that crashed last night in northern Saskatchewan. RCMP say a Westwind aviation aircraft went down shortly after takeoff from Fond du Lac around 6 o'clock in the evening. Survivors are now coming forward with their accounts of what happened. CTV's Laura Woodward has the story.
A Westwind plane was in the air for just minutes before it crashed near Fond du Lac, which is about 100 kilometers away from the Saskatchewan Northwest Territories border. A 16-year-old boy was on that flight, and he says he thought he was going to die. He remembers people beside him covered in blood and gasoline everywhere.
Boom, the first engine cut off, and boom, the second engine cut off, and then we just hit the ground. And then I just remember just getting thrown around, got knocked out, woke up. Then as I woke up, I was upside down. The plane was twisted, and the wall beside me was all gone.
Raymond Sanger was in Fond du Lac when he got a call about the crash. He followed the screams and eventually found the wreckage and people still stuck inside the plane.
The plane is sitting sideways, and everything like squashed together, like every person that's in there all penned in. And there's no way they're gonna come out if there was no help for them.
Eventually, rescuers on Ski-Doos took people from the crash to local hospitals. RCMP airlifted 5 people to Saskatoon that were in serious condition. All 22 passengers and 3 crew members have been accounted for and are alive. Here's the exact make and model of the aircraft that went down. According to Westwind Aviation, it was an ATR-42 turboprop plane. The plane was departing Fond du Lac and heading to Stony Rapids. Now investigators are in Fond du Lac right now looking into what exactly brought that plane down. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The residential school experience comes to life each time a survivor tells their story. But survivors of St. Anne's Residential School in Ontario have to fight to get their stories heard. Beverly Andrews brings us more.
Enough is enough. We have to come up. We have to come out from the closet and reveal everything that happened to us.
Angela Shashish is in court again. She attended a hearing to determine if she can share her experience at residential school.
I don't think I have to stay silent anymore. It's too much. It's too much what went on. Everything that includes all the abuse, the beatings, sexual assault, and all that, and eating our own vomit. That was not a human. That's not human when you do that.
Shashish went to St. Anne's Residential School in Fort Albany, Ontario. The school became well known for the abuse that took place there, including an electric chair.
There was a lot of going on in that school, and
Sorry for that. It's time now to take a quick break, and when we return, you'll find out about an Indigenous Reporters program, one that our very own video journalist in Calgary took part in. First, here's what's coming up on Nation to Nation right after national news.
Hello, I'm Todd Lamoran. Tonight on Nation to Nation, the opposition members of our political panel will be here to take the government to task on why it has forced Angela Shashish to go to court to get permission to tell the world about her ordeal at residential school. As well, the Government of Canada is set to make marijuana legal this July. However, chiefs in Ontario and Quebec say it's happening too fast, and their First Nations are not fully prepared for the impacts. Ontario Regional Chief Isidore Day will give me the details. That's tonight, right after the national news.
Charlottetown, sunny and -5. Halifax, sunny and -4. St. John's, 2 degrees on the way and cloudy. Northern Quebec, -7 in Cartwright and Happy Valley Goose Bay. In Gaspé tomorrow, it'll be sunny and -7. Saguenay, sunny and -15. Snow in North Bay and -10. Ottawa, cloudy and -12. Sioux Lookout, it'll be sunny and -22. In Wawa, cloudy and -17. Sunny and -26 in Churchill. Sunny in Thompson and -23. Cloudy and -10 in Brandon tomorrow. Sunny in Winnipeg and -14. Snow in Estevan and 1 degree. Snow in Yorkton as well and -5. Up in Uranium City, it'll be cloudy and -7 tomorrow. Stony Rapids, snow and -12. And in Buffalo Narrows, cloudy and 1 degree. Welcome back. In November, APTN partnered with Journalism for Human Rights as they launched the Indigenous Reporters Program in Manitoba. Our Calgary video journalist, Tamara Pimentel, spent the past month in Hollow Water First Nation working on the project as a trainer, and she joins us now from Calgary. So, Tamara, first of all, tell us about the program.
So the Indigenous Reporters Program is aimed to train young Indigenous people how to become a reporter in their own community, how to be a freelancer. So I had about 15 trainees in my class, and we went over what the main issues their communities are facing that mainstream media otherwise wouldn't cover, and how they can go out and get those stories out for mainstream media to put out there.
So what are some of the things that you and the other trainees have done over the month?
So we had a month to do it. It was from November 8th to December 8th, and we went over how to identify what a good news story is and what makes an important news story. We went over how to interview, how to write a short news story. They have a radio station there that was closed for about a year, and the last week of my time there, we got the radio station up and going, and they wrote out their community announcements to get involved with their community a little bit more. We went on a tour to APTN, and the trainees even had a chance to sit in the control room and see the live production of In Focus. We went over some photography skills and some speaking skills, and just to prepare them to start getting stories out there after I left.
Sounds like quite the experience. What do you think you and the others learned over the past few weeks?
Well, I was the only trainee out there in Hollow Water with them, but as a reporter myself, it was a great experience just to go to a different community that I'm not familiar with and learn what it's like to live there and live these experiences that are going to be in the stories that they tell. And I think for them going out to APTN, it shows them a whole other world, a whole other list of jobs that they can apply for in the future if they keep up with the training with JHR. It is a pilot project, so it was only a month long. The program is in Ontario as well, and it was for 8 months long, so we'll see what happens with the program from there.
All right, all the best in your continued work there, Tamara.
Thank you.
Every year, hundreds of teens in Northern Ontario leave their families, friends, and communities behind. Willow Fiddler first brought you the story last October. It's a glimpse into what so many Indigenous young people go through to continue their education.
It's Friday night, and 16-year-old Elena has plans to be up all night.
We leave at 2 a.m. and then we get there at 6, and I think my flight's at 10.
Students at Dennis Franklin Cromartie High School in Thunder Bay are getting a one-week traditional break. In previous years, students had to wait until Christmas to visit home, a long stretch for these young people to be away from their families. Students wait with excitement within these safe, familiar walls, including Clara.
I can't wait to go home. That's all I can say. I can't wait to go home.
Her grandma was at the nursing station back home, sick the night before, leaving Clara worried.
But she's okay now. That's why I'm happy to go home.
A 4-hour bus ride in the early hours of the morning to the airport in Sioux Lookout, where they will wait hours more for airplanes that will finally deliver them home. North Caribou Lake is a First Nations community about 400 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. Accessible by airplane and winter road during cold winter months, this is Ontario's north. It's home to more than 1,000 members, including Clara. It's been more than 6 weeks since she left home for high school. Now she's back with her family.
It's just that one spot, the indoor dog. She's gonna start barking crazy.
Clara's been at home for a week now.
Yeah, it's good. It's awesome. I like it. I was feeling so homesick.
Her grandma Beatrice also glad to see Clara.
I'm not here anymore.
I miss her.
What do you miss?
Her company.
Clara was raised by her grandparents. She went to the community's Christian school.
I don't know, she's my granddaughter. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like my daughter. But she never leave us all her life. That's the first time.
Raymond has been a band counselor for 7 years. He says it's important his grandchildren get an education because he didn't finish high school himself. A residential school survivor, he says a better education system is needed, but it's better than what it used to be.
I always try to tell my grandchildren, me was worse when I leave a good school, the end of August until the end of June, residential school. No phone calls, no ride, no money, nothing. Even Christmas holidays, I didn't even come home. I didn't call my parents, not even letters. But now they come home on holidays and everything else.
Clara fills her time at home with family. She babysits her baby brother while her mom works in construction, building the community's houses.
I don't know, I'm proud of her. I didn't really want her to go out there, to go to school, but she has to.
It's the last night before Clara gets back on a plane to return to school. Weather and other conditions don't discourage a night game of soccer at what's called the drop-in. It's almost time to go to the airport, and tough reality sets in. Clara has to say goodbye again.
I don't want to go. I just don't want to go.
Her grandpa says he won't force her to return, but Clara eventually rallies around in time to leave.
Yeah, I'll see you. When are you coming back again?
Christmas.
Families gather at the community's airport, a bittersweet time as parents and their children grapple with their absence and the precious time just spent together.
This is the first time they let us come home for Thanksgiving, and I really miss my family.
I felt complete. It's really hard to see your daughter leave, and yeah, I'm really glad that they came home this time.
I don't really want to go because I'm going to miss my family and other people.
I'm excited for her. She's growing up. But I'm scared for her too because Thunder Bay is not a safe city. But she's getting educated, and that's very, very important.
The hope is this break gives the students the support and motivation needed to successfully complete the semester as they make the long journey back to a place far from home. Hundreds of First Nations students sharing in their experiences of getting an education in Canada. Willow Fiddler, APTN National News, Thunder Bay.
Time for our last break, but stay tuned. We've got lots more coming up. Here's a look at the rest of your Friday weather forecast. 0 in High Level, Peace River, Grande Prairie, and Fort Chipewyan, 3 degrees in Fort McMurray. Cloudy in Edmonton, reaching 4 degrees, 5 degrees in Calgary. Along the coast, Tofino will see a mix of sun and cloud, getting up to 9 degrees, 7 degrees in Victoria. Sunny and 1 degree in Fort Nelson and Fort St. John. And cloudy across the Yukon tomorrow. Whitehorse reaching 1 degree, snow and 0 in Mayo. Cloudy in the NWT as well, with snow in Fort Resolution and 0. Wati, cloudy and -8. Up in the Delta, Inuvik will get to -14. Politic, cloudy and -13. Sunny in Nunavut and cold. Alved and Whale Cove, -29. Kamanituak, Baker Lake, -28. In King 8, Cape Dorset, -13. Igloolik, -25. And -28 in Joe Haven. Tradition is on proud display in Panichai. Passing on the teachings of Indigenous culture is just one aspect of a new education hub that's set to serve the community. Here's CTV's Chris and Ajikote with the grand opening.
The town of Panichai has a new learning center with a strong focus of the rich Indigenous culture of the area. The ribbon cutting makes it official as the doors open for the Carleton Trail College Four Winds Learning Center.
Today's about a celebration of community. The college has been delivering program in the Panichai area for a number of years. We had the opportunity to purchase this facility a few years ago.
Through partnerships with the college, local elders, the Touchwood Agency Tribal Council, and the village of Panichai, the center offers education, training, and student services for adult students in the area.
It's good for the young people. It's just where to be a training center for them, where to learn, to continue their whatever they desire.
18-year-old Byron Whitefish from Kwakatus First Nation is one of them. He has dreams to one day work in the trades.
I like hands-on work. I don't like sitting at a desk and writing all day.
Whitefish and others are currently working on building their resume and finishing their grade 12 here at the center.
I just heard about the program and certificates that can help me better my future and better myself. It beats sitting at home and doing nothing, I guess you can say.
I think it's a great program for everyone to take.
Doors will open once I'm done and my tickets are all achieved.
The former church has undergone a major transformation. The provincial and federal governments pitched in to renovate the center, which now includes 2 classrooms and office space.
We do a lot of work with business and industry in the region, and we just needed more training space. So it will just open the doors for people of this region to be able to take additional training close to home and not have to move away.
This is what I've been telling the students all along, that an education is very important.
Whitefish's message to others wanting to continue their education is simple.
There's like so many things handed to you. You just got to take hold of it and move forward with your life. Good things will come.
With roots already made in the community, Carleton College Trail's new learning center will continue to build relationships for many years to come. Chris Nachkate, CTV News, Panichai.
Here's a stunning look at Taipei from afar, the capital of Taiwan. It's shared by APTN's Tom Venario. If you have a photo you'd like to see on APTN National News, email it to share@aptnnews.ca or tag APTN News on Twitter or Instagram. And you can watch Tom's full story from Taiwan on aptnnews.ca. Well, that's all the time we have for APTN National News tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Juanita Tautungi. Have a wonderful evening. Tavao buhi.
It's all for the kids. We have to get out in the cool and bring everybody together and